Money, 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 money. What's up, everybody? You want to get paid? We're going to hang out today and we're going to be creating some invoices in Creative Cloud Express. If you want to design along with us, you can simply go to express.adobe.com and join us as we create an invoice and show you not only how to create the invoice, but how to export it and then how to edit in CCX for you to be able to have your client sign it and get you that sweet, sweet cheddar. So let's go ahead and click on this plus button once we're on the page. You can see a lot of things happening here on the page for CCX, but we're going to start with this plus. That's where everything starts. So here we are going to be creating a graphic, and we're just going to click on custom size graphic. Now, we're not using a custom size, but this will bring us to a screen that will allow us to pick the size that we want. Now, I do want to do a print size, and we're going to be sending this as a letter, right? We want to send this through and say, hey, here's our invoice. We can print it out. We can send it digitally. We want to use this letter size. It's just the most accessible. So we're going to click on that, and you can see it highlights in dark gray, and then we can hit next. So here we go. CCX is setting up our project, and we're going to do something that I don't know we've ever done in a lesson before. We're going to name our file first. So we're going to go ahead and name this, and we are going to name this catering invoice. We are going to be making an invoice for a catering for a bakery, right? Let's say that we're doing an event and we want to make sure that we're getting paid from that bakery. So not only are we going to talk about how to make an invoice, we're going to talk about what needs to go on an invoice and why you would make an invoice. So invoices are basically if a client doesn't want to pay you or doesn't want to pay on the spot, you can send an invoice and they can pay you later. So let's just start adding things here. And the first thing I want to do is lay down a good base foundation for a background. Now, invoices are not supposed to be super designed. It's not the place for your skills to shine. It really is straightforward. So we're going to click here on the background and we're able to change the background color. So we're going to click on color right here. And I actually love this color that it's pulled up in the current palette. We don't have any colors yet, but the current palette has suggested this. And I love this orange color. This looks fantastic. Now, I do want to make sure that the client can read this. There's a place to be able to sign things so that everything has some contrast. And it's a good idea if you're printing it, not to have it super dark. So we're going to take this and I'm going to make a little bit of an area where we can put some of our content. And a lot of people in our live stream chat are saying that they want the bakery. Yes, we have bread. We love bread. If you love bread, comment down below. Also, if you're watching, click that subscribe button. And hopefully you can make an invoice, make some money off this video. So we're going to go ahead and do an icon here. And icons are a great way to add design elements without adding design elements, right? So we want to kind of create an area for us to work and for us to put some text. So I'm going to click on icons and check this out. I'm just going to type in rectangle. And right here, we're going to have a rectangle. This is what we want. And why not? Let's use a square. We're just going to click on that and it will put it onto our artboard. Now, I do want to change the color of this. So I'm going to click here and I am going to change the color to this nice cream color. So as you can see, when I select things in Creative Cloud Express, it gives us these little nodes, and these nodes make it so that we can drag around. So I'm going to drag this around. And even though it looks like it's a background, it actually is just a giant shape, and you can go off of the edges because it won't print that, right? Creative Cloud Express is only going to show what's inside these edges. So that's looking pretty good to me. And what I'm going to do is I might want to lighten this just a little bit. I can click on color right here, and I can actually click and drag in this panel, and it will lighten that color for me. Wherever it is, we could click and select a color, or we also could click and drag, and you'll get a live update so that you can see what your invoice is looking like. So that's looking pretty good to me. Very bakery, very fun. And let's go ahead and drop some content on here. So the first thing that you need on your invoice, number one, is your company, your name, your address, your info. How are they going to pay you, right? You want to get that money. So we're going to click on text right here and just click on add your text. No need for anything super fancy. We're just going to add in our text. And I'm going to go ahead and find a font by clicking over here in the font panel. We could find something that is crazy. We could find something that's fun. There's a ton of integration with Adobe fonts. but I'm just going to use Abril here. Very straightforward. It's kind of cute, got these little swirls on the C's, and that looks right to me. So we're going to add a bill to, pay to is where we're going to start because we're more important. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pay to and just type in here your address. Fun Times Way. That's where our bakery is going to be. And it looks like it's gigantic right now. So some ways to mess around and make that a little bit smaller is to come over here and we can actually pick one of these options to see how big we want it to be. Now I do want to set this maybe at 22. It feels a little big, but it also is aligned incorrectly. We want to make sure that everything is aligned to the left. So we're going to click right here on align left. It will move all that content over, and we want it to be on one line. So you can see that we have these circular nodes, and then we have these kind of ovals. Is on the side with the oval with the notches, we want to click and drag this out, and it's going to make that text box wide enough for all of the text to fit. Now I simply click and drag, and it's going to pull it up here to the side. And I actually love this green color that it's pulled in. So we're going to type in all of the places. We'll put us in Folsom, and 95762 is the Folsom address. And again, we can just drag this out to make sure all of it is there. Oh, we also need to have our title here, and we're going to name this Andrew's Bakery. There we go, looking good. And it keeps resizing that. So we'll just keep dragging it out. So what I can do now is I have the pay to, I also want to have the bill to on here, right? That's who are we going to bill this to? If we want to play around the sizing, we can pull this node here as well instead of doing it over here. So to duplicate this, because it's going to be similar, we're just going to click on the duplicate button right over here. And I'll drag one more across, and we are going to have this be bill to. And our client is going to be the bookstore, just the general bookstore. And it's going to be right down the street, 1544 on Fun Time. Just a quick little catering order. We're running it over like Uber Eats, but much better. So we're going to position these perfect right there. And you can see I actually missed a space, and you can double click on text to edit it very easily, which is nice. So next up, what you want to have on an invoice is you want to have somewhere that they can sign for it. You want to make sure that your client can sign, and Creative Cloud Express has a new feature that I believe came out either yesterday or today. So I'm going to show you that feature, and we can allow editing on this by sending the PDF, right? You can edit it right in Creative Cloud Express if your client wants to open Creative Cloud Express and sign it. So we're going to add in one more text box here. And actually, I'm just going to copy this because why add a new one? So we're going to copy and then bring it down to the bottom. And I'm just going to have this be signature. And we could, let's use an icon to create that. So we're going to add signature to the bottom, and then I want to go to icons one more time, and I'm just going to type in line and see what comes up. So there we go. We've got a line looking pretty good, and I want this line here. We just click and it's going to add that line for us. Now, again, we can just grab that node and we're going to pull this way down because we just want that little signature line, and bring it down here. Now, the problem is that this is going the wrong way, right? It's going vertical, and it's super easy to change that. We can click on this little rotate and just click and drag, and it will pop up in red when it is a perfect 90-degree angle, right? We're a little voguing. So 90-degree angle, it pops up right there, and we are going to add this line right down here. Now, I'm having trouble clicking and dragging because it's locking onto the bottom of this text. I can simply use my arrow keys here. So I'm using my arrow keys to move this around, and we do want that color to match that green color that's happening right there. That's looking pretty good to me. Nice little signature line. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to add in the content that we've created, right? The things that we're billing for. And we're going to use some more rectangles here. So I'm going to type in rectangle. And this is, again, a very, very easy way to work with Creative Cloud Express and design with shapes like you're using Illustrator or Photoshop, but in a much easier way, right? If we don't want to take that challenge on, we can just do it right here. It's a little bit too wide. We're kind of eyeballing it. Looks good. All right. So from there, we are going to add in some titles, and those titles are very important because it's going to tell what we have created. And we're going to pull this to white so that it is a little more visible. And we're having a problem here is the order of these layers is not working, right? The bar is on top and we want to change that. We can click on the layer order down here and find the layer with our white text, right? You can see it right here. And we're simply going to click and drag. And you can see that it's dragging through those layers and we're going to put it on top. And now it is on top of that layer. So that's looking pretty good. And I'm just going to resize this and then put in here. We're going to put in quantity. There we go. And that's one. You can click on these little buttons down here to zoom in if you want some detail. So we're going to type in some quantity and just make sure that that's perfectly aligned. We're going to duplicate that very quickly and just pull it over here. And maybe we're going to put product. And then, of course, the most important, the absolute most important is the price, because we want that money. And you just saw me drag the artboard. I was just holding space right there. Super easy. Hold space and it will, and it will go ahead and move that. I just made a mistake and I hit Control Z to undo that as well. A couple little hotkeys for you today. So we're going to do a price right here. And again, I can just double click on that and then type. No need to go back and forth. All right, so we have created our quantity, our product, and our price. Looking good to me. Let's go ahead and make some lines so that it's easy to differentiate between different products. And the easiest way that I'm going to do this is we're going to duplicate and then use some opacity. So I'm going to click on duplicate here, and it is just going to align that for me right there to the center. So that looks perfect, but it's a little bit too bright. What I can do over here with the opacity is I can just click and drag that down. You can see it's live updating. And let's say maybe I want to take this down to about a 10%, right? A little differentiation, but not too much. So I'm going to, again, duplicate this right here and make sure that we have good contrast on this, right? So the white is looking absolutely terrible, not readable. We want to make sure everything has good contrast so it's accessible to everyone because we want everyone to be paying us on this invoice. So I can click on this green and it will recolor that for me. I'm not crazy about it. That looks great. So we're going to create that in the color. And if we wanted to find that color very easily, we could click on this text color and then use the eyedropper tool to just hover over that orange to make sure that it is exactly the same. So that's looking pretty good. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to create a group of all the pieces that I want here. So let's say the quantity is 200. We're doing 200. And what are we doing 200 of, you ask? We are going to do 200 of some croissants. We're doing a croissant. All right, so we're going to click here. We're going to duplicate that again and just bring it over to this product title right there. And we are going to do a croissant. Croissant. I think that's how you spell it. If it is misspelled, please let me know. We're going to duplicate one more time and then bring this price over here. And man, 200 croissants is going to cost you probably about $200. Let's do a dollar per. Seems like a good deal. So we're going to go ahead and line this up right there. And you can see those blue lines are actually telling me that things are being perfectly aligned, right? And that's what we want. We want everything to look good and line up. All right, so we have these three looking good, but we want to make a bunch of copies of this, right? And the easiest way to do that is to click on what you want to group together, and then we can make copies of that group. So we're going to click right here, and then we're just going to hold Shift and click all of the pieces that we want, right? Those are all the pieces that we want a bunch of invoice lines on. So we're going to do that, and we're going to click on Group right here. And Group is going to put everything together. And it looks like it's one object now, right? Looks good. And when I click on Duplicate, it is going to duplicate all of those pieces for me. So that is looking great. And we're going to line this up so that it aligns perfectly right there. And then I can simply come in here and double click. And let's say that we did 100 and we did 100 Danishes. 100 Danish. 100 Danish, sure. $1 for everything. Those are going to be $100. So that looks pretty good. And what I want you to do is maybe play around and thank you. I have been corrected in our live chat. croissant. I appreciate the help. That's why we're here. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks so much for watching the replay and tuning in. But we also have live streams happening all day, every day. So click that subscribe button, and maybe you'll catch a live stream and be able to help me out with my spelling of croissant. All right, so we did miss a little piece here, as I do want to have a couple pieces of information right there. So I'm just going to duplicate all of those. And from here, we can align them right there to all of our pieces. And we are simply going to double click and match that color. That's looking pretty good. And we're going to group those and make a copy. So from here, I am just going to trust that you are going to make the rest of your invoice, right? We're not going to go through all of these products. Do a scum. We're not gonna go through all of these products, but I'm gonna trust that you can create all of these lines with your products and create your invoice here. Now, I wanna show you a quick new feature, and that is going to be a feature that will allow you to edit the PDF. If you wanna send it to your client, they'll be able to open it in CCX. And I believe, again, breaking news, this is definitely something that has just been created, that has just happened, I think, in the last few days. So we've got all of our information on here. We maybe would want to put a logo on top, but right now I want to show you how to do the PDF. So we're going to click on download. We're going to click on PDF, and we are going to hit start. Actually, sorry, we're not doing that yet because we need to put somewhere that they can type. So we're going to hit duplicate right here. We're going to duplicate this, and I want to find something that looks a little bit scripty, like it could be handwriting, right? So Adobe handwriting, perfect. And we're going to type in client sign here. Let's fix that. All right, so the client is going to sign in this box, and we're just giving them a place so that they can move things around. So let's go ahead and save this PDF by hitting download and then going to PDF and hitting start download. All right, it is starting a download. We have named our file for the first time in forever. So it is downloading, it is preparing that for us. And again, this is a new feature. We're gonna test it out, see what happens. So we are going to come back and we are going to click on the CCX icon right up here. Now we do have our file down here, right? Sitting in our downloads. So we are going to click here, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to PDF, and we are going to type in, or we're going to click on edit text and images, brand new feature. And this is a great way to send an invoice to a client and say, hey, if you don't want to open this in Acrobat, if you don't want to sign it and scan it and print it back to me, you can do it in Creative Cloud Express. Click on edit, and we are going to go ahead and click on browse on device. And let's see, y'all are going to see what's in. Oh no, you didn't see anything. So, oh, it's only CCX, cool. So you can see here that I have my catering invoice. We're going to click on that, and we're just going to hit open. And watch what happens. So it's going to upload this document, going to create it. It is taking that PDF that we've created, and we've sent it to our client and said, hey, we want you to be able to change things, to move things around, to try new stuff. So I think what we can do is we can come in here. Oh boy, this is what happens. This is 100% what happens. All right, so we're having some trouble with it. In theory, you will be able to edit the text in here. Let's try, I'm gonna try one more time and see if it's going to allow me to do that. So we're gonna come back here. We also, here's another way to do it, is we can come back to our recents, and we could literally just share this with our client, right? So there is that ability to change the text. It's not working for us today. Again, it's brand new. It's probably user error, like 95% it's user error, but we can come into share, and there's always a million ways to do this here in Creative Cloud Express. We could publish it if we wanted to. We could make it a template and share it with them. We could send it to a Google Drive, and they could edit it in a Google Drive, and we could even invite them to create this and to edit this on their own. They could invite them as a collaborator. So let's say we can click invite right here, and we can go ahead and type in our client's email. It would send it to them, and they'd be able to collaborate They'd be able to put this in here. They'd be able to add their orders, right? Maybe this could be an order form. It would be a very easy way for you to move things around and to get you paid. Then they could download and send it to you. So we've got a couple minutes left, and I want to show you one more thing, and that's how to create or how to put your logo on here, right? So maybe we want the logo, but I actually want the logo to be a watermark, right? So in theory, you could come to design assets, you could find something, you could go to icons and find something, but we want to upload our own piece. So we're going to click on photos and hit upload photo. So from here, I'm just going to navigate real quick to somewhere that I have a logo. And I want to do, let's do here. One second, let me pull up this logo. Where is my logo? My goodness. Everything has literally exploded. All right, let's do this. There we go. I found it. We did it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just navigating to my logo folder. So we're going to pull this up, and you can see these are logos for my bakery right here. And I actually like this orange one because I think it will go well with our background. I'm going to actually do the gray one. Let's do orange. So I just click on it, and I'm going to hit open, and it will place that into Creative Cloud Express for us. And here it is. It starts as low resolution. So if it looks grainy, don't freak out. It's going to be fine. It will eventually load this in full resolution. It just takes a hot second. So here, I'm going to want it as a watermark. And what I can do is I can actually click and drag this all the way down. So let's do it at maybe 5%. So again, we're just using that opacity. And we can go ahead and click here. And we're going to bring it all the way down below all of our layers, right? All the way to the back. And we don't want it, we want it on top of the gray layer or the tan layer that we've created. And then I'm just going to click and drag this all the way out. All right, so we're going to click and drag this, looking pretty good. And I want it just right in the background. So we're going to watch those lines and click and drag. As you can see, it's starting to line up perfectly right there. And it still looks a little bit too much. So I'm going to take this down to like a 2%, right? Just a super subtle piece in the background. And that's looking pretty good. Maybe I want it a little bit more over here. And maybe we just center it outside of that content. So there we go. We have created our invoice. Everything looks great. Maybe we want to put some more text up here on the top. Again, we could do that very easily. Or maybe we want to add a pattern to the background, right? We could click on icons and we could maybe just type in bread. Bread question mark. There we go. And this looks fun. Here's some bread. Let's go ahead and use, let's use this one. So we're going to click, it's going to add it in there. And what I want to do is I'm just going to click and drag this all the way to the back behind. And we're going to change the blending mode to multiply. And you can't see it right now, but we're going to move this, we're going to move this around by clicking right over here on those little arrows. And we're going to put it in the background. You can see that multiply is making it so that it interacts a little bit more with the background, right? It starts to blend those colors together. So it's a little hot for me right now. So we're going to pull it down just a little bit to give us some nice texture up there. And then we could just duplicate this a bunch of times. We can move it around, create a very fun pattern for our design. And again, what we're looking at here is a bunch of layers that are making this happen, right? So we have the background layer that's orange. Then we have these icons right above it. And let's go ahead and actually just pull up our layers so that we can see. So we have our background, which is orange. Then we have our icons, which are multiplied as a blending mode, and the opacity is a little bit down. And then we have this nice tan rectangle. And then from there, we start adding all of our content on top. We have our watermark and then all that content built on top. Now, if our watermark is going over some of these and interacting in a weird way, we could, again, just add another rectangle, add another tan rectangle right over that watermark, and it will be good to go. And then to finish off and send your invoice out, you can click on download and you can click on PDF and just click on start download. So that's how you get your invoice. That's how you get paid. Go ahead and create something in CCX. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again for more great CCX content. Bye.